Welcome to Pie Making with Abby, Pie 102, Pie Assembly. In this video, I will be demonstrating the easiest way to roll and transfer a pie crust, along with demonstrating a technique for making a lattice pie crust. It really is easy as pie. I will be featuring a basic fruit pie filling recipe that can be customized to your taste. I will discuss alternative ingredients, equipment, and the tips and tricks that I have learned to make successful pies.
I love pie. I've probably made hundreds of pies in my life. Anybody that comes to our Thanksgivings, I like them to make their very first pies. Pie isn't just for after dinner, it's also for breakfast. You can see we have the grapefruit and bananas, plus all the pies.
Let's make some pies.
Preheat your oven to somewhere between 350 and 400 degrees. It doesn't really matter what temperature a fruit pie is cooked at. The higher the temperature, you can even be up to 450 degrees, but that would pretty much burn your crust before the middle was done. If you have other things that you want to be putting in the oven along with it, you can use whatever temperature those things need. If nothing else, just heat it to 375 in between. Rolling pins. I have a tapered rolling pin, probably one of my more favorite ones. I have a regular rolling pin that I think I picked up at a garage sale and then sanded it down and cleaned it up. And then I have the one that I got from my mother, probably came from my grandmother. I don't really like the ones that have the ball bearings in them because I like to feel the push as you do it. Pie pans. I like a 9-inch deep dish pan because it holds a good amount of fruit. It accommodates most recipes. The 8-inch pans, like if you bought a store-bought crust, they come in like an 8-inch aluminum pie pan. Those I find that there's always often filling left over. I actually was given a 10-inch pie pan, a deep dish, and it's kind of a monster. So I have to add more crust and such. So I like the 9-inch deep dish pie pan. Materials for pie pans, glass ones, the plain old everyday. They do great. They're inexpensive. They're everywhere. You can run to the store and you can find one. Make sure they're Pyrex or something that can go from freezer to oven because that's important for the way we do pies, but they work really well. Aluminum pie pan, my favorite pie pan growing up and for the first part of my life was a Wherever aluminum deep dish 9-inch pie pan. And then I tried putting a key lime pie in it and the aluminum reacted with the lime and that wasn't so good. Aluminum pie pans make a really nice crispy crust on the bottom. If you're going to pre-bake crust, I suggest an aluminum pie pan because they transfer the heat really quickly. And so the bottom crust will bake and get flaky. It'll just come out better. It won't slump as much. Ceramic pie pans, I use them because they make for pretty pictures and they make a pretty presentation, but they're a little slower to heat up. So sometimes the recipes take a little bit longer to bake. Sometimes the bottom crust isn't quite as flaky as I might like. Sometimes when I try to pre-bake a pie crust, it'll slump down the sides, even when I use my pie weights. You can put it in a higher temperature to bake those to try and counteract that. We're going to start with the filling because we want it to sit with the juices for a minute. I chose 2 cups of blueberries, 2 cups of strawberries, and I like a little bit of raspberries, so I didn't have any frozen raspberries today, but I did have some fresh ones, so I'm going to throw some fresh raspberries in. I have about 5 cups of fruit here. I'm going to add 3/4 cup of sugar. As far as sugar is concerned, I like my pies on the tart side. If you get a store-bought pie or a lot of pie recipes will double that sugar, which I find is too sweet. As far as the sugar is concerned, you do want to have a good amount of sugar because sugar actually brings out the flavor of the fruit. So you don't want to skimp and have none because it'll be a little flat if you don't have a good amount of sugar in there. Mix in whatever you're using as a thickener with your sugar so that it gets mixed in really well. I prefer tapioca as my thickener. Tapioca gives you clear, slightly sticky finish, which to me, pie should be slightly sticky. I've never really had it fail. I've had it come out a little crunchy where it didn't get fully developed, and that's because I didn't let it sit long enough with the fruit. You want to let it sit for 15 or 20 minutes before you put it in the pie crust. Here's the tapioca I use. Minute tapioca is also good. Instant tapioca. I've also tried tapioca flour, and that didn't work out for me so well. It was just a little gummy and didn't really work like I had hoped. Alternate thickeners. Cornstarch makes a really shiny, glossy, smooth filling Cornstarch can break down with the heat if it's cooked for a long time. I've had a little bit of trouble using cornstarch. Cornstarch, you use about half the amount. You use about 2 tablespoons full of full pie. And you need to make sure that the pie is bubbling well so that it doesn't leave a starchy flavor, so that it gets fully cooked. Flour, I use flour in my apple pie recipe. I use about 3 tablespoons per pie. Flour makes it kind of an opaque thickener. To me, it works with apples because apples are a little bit more opaque. Arrowroot powder doesn't really work. Potato starch works kind of similar to cornstarch. I don't drain my fruit. Some people like to drain the fruit afterwards and cook down the juices. I don't do that. I like the extra juice in my pie. And then with the thickener of the tapioca, it just makes it nice. A small dash of lemon juice. You can use lemon juice that's fresh squeezed, the squeeze kind or the store-bought. A teaspoon of lemon juice just kind of brightens up the flavor. You can use from 1 to 3 teaspoons, depending on the kind. I might use a little bit more because I have a lot of blueberries and strawberries, and those are not generally tart berries. And so I want a little bit more to kind of brighten it up a little bit. I always use just a pinch of salt. Salt also brings out a little bit of the flavor, like 1/8 of a teaspoon or less. The same thing is true with spices. I like to put a little shake of cinnamon in mine, not so that you really taste the cinnamon, but just so that it has kind of a warm flavor to it. You can use cardamom, you could use nutmeg, red cayenne pepper, just a touch. I'm going to actually try that in this pie. You don't want very much. You just want enough so that somebody says, there's a hint of something in there, but I can't really tell what it is. A little shake of it. The fruit is the star. A little bit of finely grated orange peel. I wouldn't use the lemon juice necessarily and the orange peel. I've made plenty of flavored pies, and that's different. In this case, I'm just trying to make the fruit shine. Some people like to put up to 4 teaspoons of butter on top of their pie before they put the top crust on. You can dot it on. I also have melted it and kind of spread it around. I do that with my apple pie in particular. In my apple pie, I use 1/8 of a teaspoon of nutmeg and 1/8 of a teaspoon of cinnamon, lemon juice in it, depending on what apples I'm using. 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt. 1/8 of a teaspoon is more than the pinches that I put in there, because I like my apple pie to have a little bit of flavor, but I don't really like an overwhelming flavor of the spices in it. Some people do. Some people really like a good cinnamon apple pie. Mix it all together in a big bowl and let it sit on the counter while you're making the crust. Now we're gonna make a crust. First, we're gonna roll out the bottom crust. Check to make sure that it's a good temperature. You want it to be cool. Feel it and it is still cool. If it's not, put your second one back in the refrigerator while you're rolling out the bottom crust. The other thing is you want to be able to make a belly button in it. You can see mine. So it pushes down fairly easy because you want the rolling pin to be able to roll it out and not stick. If it's too cold, it will crack. And if it's too warm, it will stick to everything and be a pain. Somewhere in the middle is a good thing. Flaky crust is made from pockets of fat coated in flour with a flour fat paste at the interface. When we mixed it all up, we made the flour fat paste. We have the pockets of fat from mixing it up earlier. So now we're going to make sure we coat it all with flour really well. So flour is our friend. We want everything to be floured. So I flour my table, and then I unroll it and put my wax paper on top of that. And then I flour my wax paper. And then I flour the top. And then I flour the rolling pin. Any extra flour that you have is just creating more flake. So think of it that way. You can't really over flour this pie crust. If any little bit sticks to your rolling pin while you're doing this, stop, push it back in, and flour the whole thing in the rolling pin again. Keep adding flour as needed. Think of rolling like a pinwheel. You roll from the middle and roll out to the edges, and then we turn it a little bit and roll to the edges, and we turn it and roll to the edges and roll to the edges. So the idea is that you want to keep moving the crust from the middle of the blob to the outsides. I just keep on rolling it out. You only want to go a little at a time. It doesn't have to be done all at once. I had a little piece stick to my rolling pin, so I'm just gonna flour it again. All right, so I'll just keep on turning it and like pinwheel, rolling it around the edges. This is why you flour the bottom so it doesn't stick to whatever your surface is. So it's getting there. It doesn't have to look pretty. It doesn't have to look like a round thing. It just has to be all kind of an evenly flat across the whole thing. When I get to the edge of my wax paper, I'm done. So it's kind of rounded around the edges when I get kind of the corners. You want it to overflow your pie plate by quite a bit because you want some to hang over the edges. The easiest way to get your crust into the pie pan, which is why I roll it on the wax paper, is now that you can just stick your hand underneath the wax paper and pick it up. And you take your pie pan and you just plop it in. Remove the wax paper and your crust is in the pan. Because we're going to do a top crust, I just go around the edge and roll it from the back onto the top. Just kind of make a lump along the top and kind of even out all of the edges. I never cut my edges off. I mean, if it's really big, I'll pull it off, but I don't go around the pan and cut it. The same technique works for whether yours comes out completely beautiful or more rustic like mine. We're not trying to crimp it or anything. We're just rolling it up so that it's all up on the top up here. If you get a hole when you do it, it's okay. Just push it back together and with your fingers. It's all good, especially if it's in the middle because you won't see it. Now I'm going to go stick this quickly in the freezer while I'm making the top crust because the freezer is our friend. It hardens the butter, which keeps it from slumping when it bakes, and it allows it to relax, do the right gluten thing. Now we're going to do the top crust. So we're going to kind of do the same thing. I want to make sure that I get plenty of flour on the wax paper and plenty of flour on the crust. So now we're going to roll this out again. It doesn't have to be quite as big as the bottom crust because it only has to go over the top, and it's a little easier to work with if it's not as thin, because we're going to make a lattice crust for the top. To finish the pie, I actually prefer my pies just plain finished on top. You could do a little egg wash on top, which gives a glossy brown finish. You can do a little bit of sugar sprinkles on top, either a finishing sugar, which has big crystals, or regular sugar. Brush it first with a little bit of milk or water, and then you sprinkle those on top, and it gives it kind of a little crunch on top, a little sparkle on top. This one's not quite as big as my last one. I rolled it out slightly thicker. If you roll it out and it's still too mushy, you can pop it in the freezer for a few minutes. We're going to make some lattices here. I generally just trim off the edges, a regular knife will work. And you want to make your lattices about 1 inch wide. It doesn't really matter. The wider they are, the less lattices you end up having to deal with. I have a lattice cutter that makes the edges kind of bumpy, this is the jagged edges that makes it look kind of fancy. It makes a really nice presentation. If for some reason when you're making the lattices, it's too gooey and it sticks to the wax paper, wad it all back up and re-roll it and add lots of flour and start over again. This crust is really very forgiving. Now that I've got that all cut, I'm going to go grab my crust out of the freezer. Normally I would let it sit in there until it got a little bit harder, but it's chilled, so that's a good thing. Especially if you have a ceramic or the glass ones, maybe a little bit longer in the freezer than because it doesn't transfer the heat quite as well. Then I add the pie filling into the bottom crust, spread it around. You can add dots of butter on there. Now we're going to start making this lattice. Sometimes I start from the end, sometimes I start in the middle. Just take a few of them and lay them across. Our goal is to weave it back and forth. So we'll pull every other one back. And however many you want to get across, you just want some gap in between each one. And then let's see, this one comes back and this one comes back, and the next layer goes on. Every other one, we just weave the pie crust. One more in here. Like that. We want to make sure we seal up these edges because I just go in and I tear off the edges. The lattice pieces are the size of the crust. And now I make sure I poke them in, poke them into the crust, and then kind of just add them to the part sticking up on top from the bottom crust. All right, so now we have a pie. the edge crimping. You can push it back and forth with your fingers to make a crimped edge. So you push it in between your fingers like that. It looks like that when it's done. You can take a fork and go around the edges, makes a nice decoration. You could also use a spoon, anything that you can find to make a funny edge looks great. Here's what the fork edge looks like, although it's lumped. The rolled edge, you can just roll it around itself and it comes out looking like this. So you just kind of roll it over the top. If you don't do a lattice top, roll it out flat, put it on top, but you do need to allow the steam to escape. So you can cut it with your knife. You can make letters of what kind of pie it was on top, make a little design of some sort. You can also use cutouts, cookie cutters, big and small circumference glasses. You could also put a crumb crust on top, which is always a hit. The nice thing about fruit pies is it's hard to overcook them, especially if you leave all the juices in. They're not going to dry out too much. The fruit will just get softer. You can leave it in the oven for quite a while, but you do need to make sure that the crust doesn't burn. The piece that's the size of the pie, fold it in quarters, and then fold it like you're going to make a snowflake. And then cut the tip off about 4 inches down. So you have, gives you a couple inches around the edge of your pie. And then when you unfold it, you have a pie crust edge saver. I have one that was an aluminum one pre-made like this, but it's basically the same thing. I've tried ones made out of silicone and they just seem hard to me because it's pieces and you got to put it together and they always fall off. So I just do this with mine if the edges are starting to get burnt. Check it after about 30 minutes and see how the edges look. Then check it again in about 45 minutes to see how the edges look. I just put it on top. If you need to bake it at a really high temperature and the pie is starting to look kind of crispy, but the middle's not bubbling yet, you can just stick a whole piece of foil over the whole top, then just keep it in there. You want to make sure that you at least put a piece of foil underneath. Pies will overflow. Put it on a baking sheet. Don't put it on air baking sheets where they have a layer of air in between them because it will keep the bottom of your pie from cooking very well. Just a thin aluminum cookie sheet would be good. I put a layer of foil over the top of it just because cleaning up that mess that's on the cookie sheet can be kind of a pain too, but it's easier than cleaning up your oven. This is ready to go in the oven. The other alternative, if you get jumbo 2-gallon size Ziploc bags, and once in a while I'll find them in a grocery store, not very often, the whole pie will fit in there and you can stick it in your freezer for later. So I can have one ready to bake. You don't really need to thaw it. You can put it from the freezer into the oven, but allow an hour and a half for it to bake. I like to take my extra dough and roll it out and make what I call a Pop-Tart. I'll roll it flat and then I'll put some jam inside and then I'll crimp the edges and stick it in the oven with the pie for, I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes until it's crispy. And then I've got myself a homemade Pop-Tart. Thank you all for coming.